Solana, layer one blockchain. It's doing amazing things. You know it, I know it. But today we want to forget the fundamentals and look at the technicals because we're in the business of making money. We want to minimize the downside and maximize the upside. So today we're going to really look into Solana, what we should anticipate over the next few weeks, but also the next few months. So if you like today's video, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I'm Jagir. I'm the award-winning author of The Extraordinary New Venture Capital Opportunity, How to Invest Like a Pro, been trading currencies for over 15 years, and I bring that knowledge and wisdom to you in the crypto markets. I was featured in the best-selling book, High Probability Trading Strategies, back in 2008, and that's going to help us make wise, mechanical, objective, non-emotional based decisions so we can win the game and make sure every year, every month we are making profits. So let's dive in. So by the way, before we do, I cover and I use, as you're probably noticing, Elliott Wave theory. Elliott Wave theory combined with Fibonacci actually helps us measure the psychology and the mass psychology of the markets. And the price action tells us how the herd mentality is feeling. So if you haven't taken my free crypto trading masterclass, it's in the link below. But one of the secrets that I cover, one of the 3 secrets that I cover, is Elliott Wave theory, the real fundamental high level theory side. So then you can understand the practical side and how we all pull it together. So let's dive straight into Solana. Now Solana, I think someone asked me in comments, you asked me, Solana, can you cover Solana? And I said, absolutely. I love Solana. Made some decent money on Solana earlier this year. It went from $4 to like $40. What is it today? Today is like $38. The high of Solana was around $60. So let's look at the chart pattern on Solana. So I'm keeping a fresh chart. Sometimes it's good for you to see, how do I start from a fresh chart? And one of the most, when it comes to Elliott Wave, one of the most common questions is, where do you start wave 1 from? What do you start wave 1 from? And at first I was kind of like, is that not clear? Like, is it not clear? But then everyone was asking the same question. I was like, clearly it's not clear because, wave 1 data, the data just keeps going. Do you start down here? Do you start down here? Do you start down here? Now with Elliott Wave, what we want, the purpose of using Elliott Wave is not to become analyst or to forecast the market for the sake of forecasting the market to try and predict the future, because we're trying to play a game here. What we're trying to do is get valuable information and insight into what the market is likely to do with high probability. So what you want to do is take the most recent data. So all of this data down here, if I just draw a rectangle, yeah, there we go. All of this data is important, but not important in terms of more recent data. So all of this I'm going to actually ignore up until here. So the wave 1, what I'm looking at is where's this whole movement is what I'm paying attention to. Where's the key data? It's pretty much this zone here that I've just drawn. This zone, everything prior to that I can just ignore. Just ignore because it's not giving me that much valuable information. So I'm going to just zoom in a bit more and we'll move this to the right so you can really see it as clear as we can. I'm going to get rid of this. So where are we starting wave 1 from? This zone. Do we need to pinpoint it accurately? Like does it make that much of a difference? Not really. Not with wave 1. This high is much more obvious. Like we say, where's the high? Where's the all-time high? Well, that's really obvious. This low is really obvious. Here we do need to make a subjective decision, but actually it's pretty objective because you can't, we can say here, we can say here, we can even say here, but I would go for this part here, right? And what we're going to do first is we're going to look at 2 things today. First, we're going to look at the macro picture. What's the biggest wave count on the macro level that tells us the whole picture of Solana, where it is? And you should have an opinion of the market. And it's an opinion. It's not a certainty. And having an opinion of the market, where the psychology of the market is, gives us valuable information to make decisions. And as the market unfolds, it may give us information that says, oh, actually, that's now changed my opinion, right? So that's the whole flow of Elliott Wave, and that's just the nature of it. It's the power of it, but it also means that's why you need to practice it to kind of get with that flow. So let's just do this. So again, what you can see here, what I'm seeing here is a nice wave 1, a wave, like same with a wave 2, here or here. But because wave 2 tends to be a minimum of 3 waves, you kind of see this is the first one, and then it's a bit complex. So we'll say here, and then we got a nice move to the upside. Could you say this is a wave 3? Well, wave 3 is never the shortest wave and is more often than not longer than wave 1. So wave 1's distance is here. So this is unlikely to be a wave 3. This one is a wave 3. And then this looks like a wave 4, followed by a wave 5. And I'm just going to change this to, just so you can see it a bit clearer with those waves. In fact, what we'll do is, do you want to make this intermediate? In fact, we'll do it as a primary. Nice big numbers, right? So we want the primary count, right? The macro picture. Now, because it's the first wave, like this is the all-time high, and again, this is one of the beautiful things with crypto. It's such an infant market and so new. You know, we're seeing all-time, it's like fresh data, fresh kind of, it's like a teenager or a kid growing into a teenager, and we're seeing it get more and more mature and with experience, life experience. So this over here, I'm seeing as a wave 1. Right, what typically comes after a wave 1? Well, it's a wave 2. How many legs does the wave 2 have on the first correction? Well, it's 3. As in, it's like an A, B, C. That's what we're anticipating. Now, there's a couple of ways of looking at this, but the clear thing that we're seeing is that we had this really steep correction, correction. Oh, by the way, I haven't done it here, but normally what I do, and I'm going to change to it now, is rather than having candlesticks, because you have these wide-ranging days, these things over here are called candle wicks for the candlestick, which shows you that the day price is moving, but we're really focused on the closing price. So actually, sometimes it's easier and cleaner, especially if you're doing the macro viewpoint of the market, to use a line chart. So it makes it much easier to see, less noise on the market, less noise. So here we go. So what we're seeing now. Well, typically we should see 3. So let's draw it first, and I'll show you what I'm seeing, so we can get a really good opinion of what Solana is looking like it's doing. So we're going to click up here. This looks like the first wave A. It looks like we're making an A, B, C of a wave C. And then we should see a final leg down of a wave C, which normally unfolds in a 5-wave structure. Right? And let's do it like this. Because we're now projecting waves into the future, sometimes it's helpful to see this. And let's just make this the primary. So again, we're looking at the macro picture over here. So there you have it. So now we've got a very clear macro picture of Solana. So now let's do some price projections of seeing what is the opportunity. What even if you look at the opportunity in front of us, right? Actually, let's do 2 things. Let's do the micro. Sorry, not the micro. The intermediate. So we've done the macro picture. Now let's just zoom in a bit more. So this wave 1 is actually the macro, this wave 1. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a wave 1 is the intermediate. This A, B, C of what looks like it's going to be a wave 2 is the intermediate. And then the micro picture is when we dive a bit deeper into the wave itself. So we dive deep into this wave itself, this wave A, if it's subdivided into 5. If we dive deep into this wave B, which is what we're going to do, we should see an A, B, C structure. So that's going to help us make some decisions. And then this C structure. So we've got 2 options. When I look at this, what I'm thinking is there a shorting opportunity? Like, can we make money on the way down? Not can we can, but in terms of, is Solana presenting itself with an opportunity to make money shorting? So there's a few other things. I'll just go over A to Z, because sometimes it's good for you to see how I go for A to Z, because some videos I just kind of get straight to the point. Other videos, it's good for you to know, how do I come to that conclusion? And there's method to the madness. So let's stick with the wave count. And I'm just going to change this to, let's just get rid of these waves so it's cleaner. And I'm going to just zoom in. So we've got 2 degrees. So this is, let me just, because I want to make this really clear, right? So this wave here, this 1 is the macro, right? As in the bigger picture, right? And this wave 2 down here is the macro, right? And then this over here, this wave 5 is the intermediate. So it's like 1 degree down from the macro, right? And let's just even, yeah, so that's fine, right? Intermediate. Hopefully it's making sense, right? Intermediate, boom, boom, intermediate, right? So now we've got 2 degrees of count. We got our macro picture, now we've got intermediate, but we can actually go to 1 degree lower. We actually can go to 2 degrees lower, 3 degrees lower, because when we go to the hourly chart, the waves will express themselves. The psychology will express itself more and more cleanly and clearly. So now let's go into the micro. So micro, now we don't need to go into this section so much right now, but this section, right? What do we see? Well, we see this nice clean A, B, and what looks like a wave C. So if we go into an A, B, and a C. And let's move this to, on here we can just literally say the micro, right? Micro, boom, right? So you see the smaller letters, so it makes it cleaner for us. But for today, I also want to make it crystal clear. Sometimes I can assume that you're with me in what I'm talking about. And other times, if I get to ask a question, and it's only then I realize it's like I was talking Chinese. And if you don't speak Chinese, you're going to have a hard time, right? Right, so this is like the macro picture, an intermediate picture, and then we got a micro picture. Now what we're going to do next is we want to look at time and price. So I'm just going to move these a bit up. Just want to need to get them out of the way a little bit, right? So I'm going to get these out of the way a little bit. All right, hopefully that makes sense. So I want to look at two things next. Let's just keep it simple for today. Let's just keep it simple in terms of, is there a selling opportunity here? And what should we wait for if there's going to be a buying opportunity down here? That's what we're going to focus on today, right? So first thing I do, I want to come out of the daily chart and go into a weekly chart, right? And the weekly chart, we have a momentum indicator that says it's currently bullish. So when the weekly is bullish, we should anticipate more upside movement. And if the weekly and the daily momentum is in the same direction, that's what you call two time frames telling you the momentum's in the same direction. So I just want to double check something. There's two indicators. Yeah, they're both pretty much saying the same thing. That's fine. So let's just dive back into the daily chart again. And now basically the difference between these two indicators, there's one at the top, one at the bottom. They're the same indicators, the stochastics RSI, but the settings are different. And this one moves a bit faster and it catches more of the waves, but the downside is it can get kind of noisy when it's choppy. And then this one is a slower movement, but we'll see what we want to see. Does it catch the highs? What catches the highs quite well? So you can see here, it's relatively close to this high, and this high. Yeah, so this one is catching it a bit better. So we can just focus on the top one, which is the settings are 8533. What does the heck that mean? If you double click on it, you'll see these numbers that come in, and it's 8533. So now I would wait for this to become bearish to see if we're going to see some downside movements, but I am very aware that the weekly indicator, this is going to be a slightly longer video, so just so you know, I can tell this is more of a bit of a lesson here. Again, what I'm aware of is this slower indicator hasn't gone bullish yet. This is in the bullish zone and it has gone bullish, but we might see a bit more downside movement on the next daily momentum reversal. So if this daily momentum goes to this oversold zone, which is on the top side, and reverses, we'll probably see this final leg. So let's just look now, because what we'll probably say is if we're going to short this is, and I'm not necessarily saying that's the best opportunity here, but because it looks like an ABC, I would actually wait to see if this C unfolds. So let's just do one last thing to finish up on this actually, because I wouldn't recommend shorting this because the weekly is bullish and there's other opportunities that are a bit more obvious. But with Solana, it might just be helpful for you to know we might see some downside movements before we see upside movements. So let's just finish on a couple of price things. Let's just do, let me just get rid of, I'm going to get rid of all these labels now because they're not serving us. That was just more for you to know that what I was going on about with the macro and the micro picture. What I want to focus on is this wave here. This, what looks like a ABC. So typically we have a retracement. And the number that we have, typical retracement is a minimum of 50%, maximum of 78.6, and in between is 62%. Also, wave C, remember we're labeling this as a wave, potential wave C, and this is the A. Wave C is often 100% to 162% of wave A. 100% is more common. And again, we're using the closing data just because it gives us clearer information. And let's just, so we can get rid of this one. And we can also get rid of this for now, because the 100% is the most common one. There is a couple of other indicators, but also what we want to do is just do a quick basic time, and some advanced time analysis we can do, but the basic one is the correction should be minimum above 50%, and we'll see. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so it's gone past the minimum time period, but then also wave C has a relationship with wave A, and it's normally 100% to 162%. And you can see that we've exceeded that. We exceeded that here, so we should be seeing some type of high soon. And then last but not least, what I want to do is go into one lesser degree on a lower time frame. In fact, we don't even need to go on a lower time frame. Look at this, right? We see it clearly here. Right? What do you see here of this wave C? Wave C of this wave B, right? This here. What do you see, right? This section. Do you see any clear pattern? And sometimes it just unfolds textbook style. And when it does, we want to note that information and go, right, it looks like a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a C. And again, we want to make sure it's sub-micro, even sub-micro, right? This is a fourth degrees of count now. We got a wave 5 of a C of a B. So we should anticipate a minimum of a 50% correction down to here. I would wait for this momentum to become bearish, and there might be opportunities on the short side. So hopefully that's helped you out. Hopefully that's clear. What we should anticipate. Let me just finish up on this. With Solana is the macro count. Looks like we're on a wave 1 and on forming a wave 2. On the intermediate count, we're on an A. Looks like the completion of a B, and then should be seeing a C. And then on the micro count, it looks like we've got an A, B, C of a B completing, getting ready for this downside. And on the sub micro, which is the 4th degree count, so we've got 4 degrees, is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a C. And this could be the beginning of a downward movement, but we want to wait for bearish momentum indicator to show weakness to go short. Because if you notice that this high crossover here marries up nicely with this. So here we will have price, we'll have momentum, as in on the downside. We've got pattern, and there's 3 things they're telling us there's a high probability that we're going to see downside movement. We've already got A, B, C, but I think it's too, we should anticipate movements to the downside. But again, I wouldn't necessarily look to trade this. I think there's other better opportunities. But this was a really clear pattern. So there you have it. We did a bit of a masterclass there. That was we just went really deep. Clean chart, Elliott Wave. We did 4 degrees of counts. The macro, the intermediate, the micro, and actually went into the sub-micros. We went 4 degrees of counts. So we can see the psychology unfolding. And that's a beautiful example, textbook example. Now, it doesn't mean it's guaranteed that it's going to go on to form that wave C. All we can do is get the probability in our favor and then do what we just did, and then look for a shorting opportunity. I would be, if the weekly momentum was bearish and the next daily bearish momentum reversal, we should maybe anticipate. Sorry, I want to do one last thing actually. Let me do one last thing. Wave A, this wave A on the intermediate degree and this wave C often have a really direct, close relationship, and they're almost like twins. Right? Think of them like twins. Wave C is very similar, if not the same, as wave A. And sometimes wave A can actually form into 3 waves, 3 or 5. Most people don't know that. Either 3 or 5 with wave A. And whereas wave C is always 5 when it goes into an impulsive. It's actually an impulsive wave to the downside. So what we can just do very simply is measure the time taken to form a wave A and project that time forward for this from this wave B. Right? And you see we've exceeded that time already, but nowhere near the price, right? So this red line represents the same time it took to form this wave A. So we may see it forming some type of other pattern. The other thing is the price action. wave A, if we measure wave A and project it forward from wave, what looks like a wave B high, 100% is this number down here, right? At this price point. And there's one last thing that we can do on the macro picture is just a simple retracement. We want to take this low, retracement, we take this low to this high. I like to drag it across so it makes it really clear for me to see that it's this part of the market we're looking at. And where's it again? Oh, it's here, yeah. And the key numbers that we're looking for is 50, 62, and 78.6. And you'll see that 78.6 is here. The market's found on the wave A some resistance around the 50 and 62. So the likelihood is that we're going to see a correction in this zone here if it does unfold. And then last but not least, let's just do an external retracement, which is more of a confirming Fibonacci ratio. I need to make sure I see where the line's coming from, because I just need to adjust the, and there we go, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, so it's not this number that we want. What we want is 1.618. Oh, look at that. Tagged it right there. Look at that. You see that? Yeah, it's bang on. And it's normally the 1.618 and the 1.27. So this is now a very high probability zone. We're past the time, but the price and pattern hasn't coincided. So we need to be patient for the time and price. So we may see the momentum go to the upside, turn down, and we may see a movement to the downside. Excuse me. So Solana, we just did an advanced analysis there. So that's what I cover in the crypto trading masterclass. Actually, today we actually did just in a bit more detail, because sometimes you just don't, but I cover the theory. It would be great if you actually watch my crypto trading masterclass, because I cover the theory of Elliott waves, and today we covered the practical real life, Fibonacci, price retracements. We did a bit of basic time, some more advanced time analysis we could do, and that we should do. I'm just looking at it even. Yeah, this is looking like a good patient setup. So what we're going to do is this. What we're going to leave it with is we're going to be very patient. This is what I'm doing anyway. I don't know what you're doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to be patient to wait for this. And it might take a week. It might take a week. I'll probably do some time analysis on this later. I'm just going to make some notes. Time analysis on Solana, because we're not trading junkies, right? We don't need to be in the market all the time. And what's best practice is to only risk 3% per trade and to only expose 6% of your entire portfolio at any one time. And only when you're risk free should you look to take another position. Why? Because you need to be, most people say I'm a very optimistic guy, which I am, but you need to almost have the reverse mindset is, what if I'm wrong? What's the minimum the market should do? So what I would look for this particular market is, if I was shorting this, I would actually look for, let's just say we took a short position here. Let's just say we were watching this a few days ago and we saw this wave 5 of wave C of this wave B, and we went, great, this looks like a great shorting opportunity. We took this opportunity. I would actually go, we're anticipating a minimum of a 50% correction, and at this zone here, I would look to take some profits, which I refer to as insurance. And then my second position, second part of my unit, I look to ride the whole wave into this zone to make my profits. And then the same will be true. If the market does unfold this way and we do take a buying position in this zone over here, what's the minimum that we expect? Well, this wave C should unfold into 5 waves down to here. So we should expect the minimum of 50%. I'll look to take my insurance policy over here, move my entry point to break even, and then I'm looking for all-time new highs. And that's going to be where there's some very high potential on new upside movements. So Solana, very strong project, very strong project. It's making some noise now, It's bringing some different kind of use case in terms of speed and cheap gas fees, where Ethereum's having a few challenges, even though Ethereum's got layer 2 solutions like Polygon coming on top now, which is very, very encouraging to see. But purely from a technical standpoint, A, B, C, be patient, wait for the setup. Sitting on your hands is a genuine position, and keeping an eye on this. So what we're gonna do, one last thing actually. Let's do one last thing. Let's just do trading views of this software. We can add an alert and to say, look at long opportunity at wave C low wave, wave C of wave 2. So the great thing is, now that I've said this, I've said it, that I will get, you'll see this line come up, that line now. If price goes beyond that, I'll get an email and it'll read me my notes, and now I have a 24/7 executive assistant. There's a little hack for you, right? You can right click, add a note. You can also set it up as a text. I like to get an email. So if the price action does come down here and I'm not actively looking at Solana every day, I'll get an email to say, okay, we should now start paying attention. If there's a 5-wave structure on the wave C of a wave 2, we should look for some long opportunities. So today was a more detailed video. I hope you enjoy it. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers. I think we've just passed the 300 mark. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. That's brilliant to see. But I want to get to 1,000 so we can make, bring this knowledge and wisdom to a lot more people. So share this video also and take my free crypto trading masterclass. So by the time we do our next video, you're more up to speed, especially with that Elliott Wave theory. All right, I will see you soon.